Betty. Betty's on the go.
Welcome to Betty on the Go. I'm your host, Betty Gudel. We're streaming live at the Downtown Accelerator, 720 Willette. Today we have a Renaissance woman with us, really. Her name is Kay Curtis. She's had many different careers in her life. She's been a registered nurse to literary agent, owner of Curtis Coaching, a divorce coach and leadership development coach. What exactly is a divorce coach and a mediation coach?
Oh, divorce coach is like new to Windsor. I'm actually the only divorce coach in Windsor.
Good, we need that, yay!
And while I was going through my divorce, I took a coaching course. So I'm an IPEC, International Professional Excellence in Coaching. And I actually wanted to do something within my nursing career. So my specialization is really health and wellness. But under the health and wellness, there was divorce coach. And I realized that with going through a divorce and the process that I went through, that it would be better for me if I focused on becoming a divorce coach and helping other women go through the divorce process. The way I do that is, first of all, I have created a 7-step approach to getting a divorce. And the first one is unpacking the emotional baggage. So I take you through that with going, the emotion of shock, anger, resentment, bring you to acceptance and hope for a positive life. And with that process, it helps you save money on your legal bills, because you're dealing with all the emotional impact of the divorce, which is far way greater than the legal impact that you will be experiencing. And so once you get through the emotional issues, you're able to go to your lawyers with, okay, this is what I want for spousal support. This is how I want the property to be divided. This is what I should get in child support. I want the house to be sold. This is my story. So you go through all of that and you go to your lawyer and you present that, and you take up about an hour of his time. But if you just present yourself, I have a 7-step process as a divorce coach. And the first one, we start with unpacking the emotional baggage. So unpacking the emotional baggage is to figure out all of the different steps you need with emotionally. Most women go through shame of the divorce, shock of the divorce, anger, resentment. So I move you through those emotional steps, bring you to acceptance and hope for a bright future, and redirecting your life into something that could be beneficial to you and beneficial to your family, and keeping the family intact.
And so is this how you developed the group Divorced Divas?
Yes, because, after women coach with me for about a year, from the time they find out that they're going to become divorced, and we go through the first process of the emotional part of it, and I also assist them with coming up with the what do you want for your support settlement. What do you want the house? Do you not want the house? What are those steps that you need to get through this so that you and the ex-spouse isn't fighting? What triggers you when you meet him? So we go through all of that for a year, and then after that, there's no more coaching and you're still out there, but your divorce isn't absolutely final, because in Ontario, you have to be separated for a year before.
And that's a long time.
And that is a very long time. So after the year, you're not in court, there's not a lot going on, you're just kind of working out the separation agreement, the property division, and all those things, and what you're getting for child support and what you're getting for spousal support. And then my coaching with you is done. But then the divorce might take 2 or 3 years before it actually happens. So that's how Divorce Divas came about. We wanted to find a place where women who are separated and divorced could come for emotional support, and to come as a group so that they know that they are not alone. And as we know, women in unity can change the world. So that's one of the things that we work on. It's a very positive group to help uplift women so that they can move forward in a way that they are spiritually also strong. They, have a life that is meaningful to them. They go back to their authentic self. Who was I before I became divorced? And what new goals can I set for myself and achieve so that I can find first inner peace and happiness? And you can do that in a group where everybody comes together and they're very positive about what's happening.
That's right, so you don't feel like you're floating in purgatory through this time.
Exactly. And, women who go through divorce, regardless of how you try to make it amicable, the emotion is there because you feel like a failure. Women are responsible for the relationship. They're responsible for the family. And when the divorce happens, nobody looks at it and say, regardless of who is at fault, I mean, as a divorce coach, we are not blaming anybody. We are just dealing with the emotion. And at Divorce Divas, we are not blaming anybody. It's kind of an opportunity for women to come out and to meet other women, because if you have been through a crisis, just like Alcoholics Anonymous or MAD, when you're in a grief process, only the people who have been through it truly understands the deep emotional impact that you are having, and could understand that 5 years after the divorce you might still be feeling a grief for it, because divorce is like a debt. The debt of a spouse, the only difference between the debt of a spouse and a divorce is that you know the reason why you've lost your spouse. And sometimes in a divorce, you don't know the reason why, but you still have the same grieving process. So we all come together, we are able to talk, we are able to laugh, we are able to meet socially. We can have things like birthday clubs and Mother's Day brunch and, different social aspect that you are light inside, and
it gives you strength to carry on.
Exactly. Strength to, if you're feeling down on a Tuesday, like our meetings are on Tuesdays, every third Tuesday of the month from 5:30 till about 7:30. And we come together from 5:30, and we kind of socially introduce new members and get together, and then we have our meeting.
And it's a perfect time, because especially if people have children, it's not too late. It's in the middle of the week.
Exactly.
That way, a lot of times when you're going through a divorce, children are with the other partner too on weekends, so it's a little bit difficult. So it's the Divorced Divas. It's not co-ed. Why not co-ed?
Well, co-ed because we were very specific on not having it co-ed, because we want it to be a support group for women. We don't want, once you have co-ed, you have it becoming like a dating opportunity. And we don't want it to be a dating opportunity. We want it for women to come there and support each other and go out afterwards. Have a good time, and then you can go and date, but it's not, we don't want it to be dating. We're very specific on that. It works better if it's just women, because the issues that you might be talking about, not that we're talking about men, but the issues might be talking about, and the emotions that you talk about will mostly relate to women and how women feel. And women have different feelings about, and different emotional feelings about divorce and about grief than men do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, no, she was saying it's for women, just because women have different issues. And it's harder to open up, I think, when there's another man around, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes even with cultures,
right,
it becomes an issue.
Yeah. And then also one of the things we do in Divorce Divas, a part of the group, is to help support women when they have to go to court.
And that's huge, because that's the scariest time.
Oh, it is absolutely scary. Most of us have never been to a courthouse. We have no idea what the process is. You get there and it's kind of frightening. I was very fortunate that I had friends who came out to support me. But while I was there, I observed that there were a lot of women who did not have that support. And then you have the ex-spouse sitting there and they're all looking happy, and those kind of things trigger you and you don't know how you're going to react. But if you have someone from Divorce Divas there to sit with you, then you feel more at peace and you're more able to cope with the stress of having to be in that situation. And also, not all women have the proper attire to appear in court, so we also help them with getting them something to wear so that they can present themselves in court looking the way they should be, looking for a court appearance.
And another thing is the group provides somewhere to get out your emotions and emotional issues, as opposed to doing with a lawyer, which costs a lot of money because lawyers charge by the hour.
Right, exactly. And for instance, if you spend your hour at the lawyer and you sit there and you tell the lawyer, well, you know, my ex-husband sent me an email that was, or a text that was nasty, or he didn't bring the kids home on time, and all those things, you're paying your lawyer $350 or $400 an hour. And you've accomplished absolutely nothing. And women need to understand that. You know, when you go to your lawyer, as a divorce coach, what I help my clients do is to go to their lawyer and present their story written down, present what I want for my spousal support, what I want for this. So you're going to your lawyer and you're handing them your separation agreement and what you want them to go to court for. So that's one part of it. How you're not going to spend $450 or $400 an hour to tell the lawyer the story. You're presenting him
with financials and everything already in hand.
Everything done. So all he has to do is give his secretary the money to type the order to type it up. You go in, you sign it. How much money have you saved? You know, so if you saved a lot of money that way. Now, if you want to talk about, I got a text, my ex is continually not picking up the kids and dropping them off late. That is where you talk about, that's venting. And you can talk about that in the group and then get solutions to how that problem could be corrected from other members of the group who have had the same situation and have worked it out. So that's one big way in which the group helps.
That's true. It really saves, because a divorce shouldn't be costing $200,000.
No.
Now, is there, what is the medium of a divorce?
Well, there's
because
a bit of a range.
So
yes,
much, right?
Yes, there's a bit of a range. It could go from anywhere from, well, I talked to one guy who said his divorce cost him $100.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it cost him $100 because he realized what he needed to pay, and he just did what he needed to do, and then got his lawyer to sign the paperwork, and it cost him $100 and he was done. Now, that was the easiest, simplest way to do it, and that is, I guess, if you want to call it an amicable divorce, that's it. Not even amicable, but you can call it, the new phrase for that is uncoupling. That is a good way.
Gwyneth Paltrow, thank
yes.
you very much.
Gwyneth Paltrow coined that phrase of uncoupling, and that's the best way to do it. But if you have to, you know, have the lawyer do the finances and go through, present the spousal support and pay money to have a case conference in court, easy, it should cost you about $18,000. And for the most part, maybe $50,000. And that's according to the Ontario divorce government. If you look on the website, that's just an average. But I mean, when you're thinking about an adversarial divorce, it could cost you from $200,000 or even $500,000. You know, and when you think about it, you know, you have to be co-parenting. You're still parents, and when it becomes that adversarial, it's very, very difficult for you to manage your emotion and to continue to be friends and to show up with dignity with your children. And I think that for most parents, that should be the most important thing, to show up with dignity to your children, because they would grow up, and after, I speak to some kids who have been through divorce, and that is their biggest concern, and you know, their biggest regret, that one parent was absent, or that the only thing that they could remember from their childhood is their parents fighting.
Yeah, that's not very good. And as a group with women, and you can help with lawyers, which ones maybe might be overcharging. And then you can also to have discussions where maybe one lawyer charges one person $100 an hour, and he charges somebody else $400 an hour. And you think, how can one lawyer charge? Like, shouldn't there be a cap on something, or shouldn't there be some sort of...
Well, you know, lawyers, the thing is that I advise my clients to do, investigate your lawyers. Go in and know how you want to get divorced. Do I want to have a lawyer who is going to listen to me? I think we go in and we talk to our lawyers, and we don't even know what an hour they are charging. I know when I was getting divorced, my lawyer went from $350 an hour to about $400 or $450 an hour, and I wasn't even aware of the change that took place during that until I saw my bill, and I thought you were $350 an hour. Then he's like, oh, I raised my fees, you know. And then there was one point in time during my divorce where you weren't paying taxes, but then you had to pay taxes on top of that. So it became even more expensive. So you think it's $350 an hour, but it might end up to be at least $400 by the time you pay taxes. So I say to my clients, set a divorce budget, because when you're going to buy anything, you want to stay within your means, and you want to have a budget. So if you're going to buy a car, then you buy a car for the money that you could afford. If you're going to get divorced, you should figure out what's the budget for my divorce, and let your lawyer know, this is the amount of money that I have for my divorce, and you're working for me.
So don't be afraid to ask for particulars.
Right. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask questions like, if I'm getting divorced, what is your divorce win rate? Like, how many times do you settle, or do you go to litigation? If you go to litigation for a week or less, that could cost you up to $50,000 just for having lawyers in court. If you don't want to go to litigation, and the lawyers could sit down and work out the issues, then it will cost you a lot less money. So part of the divorce coaching helps women save money in that way, because you try to, you know, what do I want when you're dividing property? What's important to me? What's not important? You know, I say to my clients, do not fight for a coffee table.
Yes, and you see that so often.
Yes.
Very silly things.
Yes, yes. So if you're fighting for a coffee table and you're spending $450 or $1,000 to fight for a coffee table, that it's because it's emotionally important to you, give it up. Go out and buy a new coffee table. You know, don't fight for the house. You know, when it comes down to it, sell the house, get your portion of the assets from the house, go out and buy a new house. You can always buy a new house in your school district. You know, we tend to think that kids are so fragile. You know, we don't want to separate them from a place that they've lived in. But you know what? It's better to do that than to have the parents fighting, and for the parents to have these very exorbitant legal fees, because that affects the kids more than if they just have to change address from one house to the next.
And having the support of other women helps a lot, because a lot of times when you're going through a divorce, you can't really see when you're in the house, but somebody looking out through the windows is more apt to give reasonable
Yes, exactly.
advice.
I mean, when we sit as a group and we talk, most of the women who stay in the home say it's cost them a lot of money, because you have to keep in mind that you're living in a home, especially the more expensive homes, that you're living in a home that the budget was twice the amount, and you're living on it and half the budget that you had before. So, and you're the one responsible for all the expenses in that home from the support money that you might be getting, and that eats up your support money. You know, plus you, on top of that, you have your legal expenses. So you have to be very careful, you know, and I try to advise my clients, like, how important is this house to you? You know, wouldn't it be nice to have a really fresh start and not have any reminders and not have to walk into a room and think that you're going to see the ex there? And there's a really, really great video called Split. And this video it has about 12 kids being interviewed, and the kids are from age 6 to 12, and they talk about the effects of their parents being divorced on them. And one of the things that one little girl said was, you know, when I walk around and I come upstairs and I look in the hallway, sometimes I expect to see my dad, because sometimes he would come out and scare me, and I still look at that hallway and I expect to see him there. And it was great when we moved, because I didn't have to have that picture in my mind anymore. So that to me tells me that kids are flexible and they will adapt, and it's the parents who want to keep the battle going, to keep the house, or, you know, to fight for the furniture or those things, which is not absolutely necessary.
So true. Now, your logo is a dragonfly. Did you pick a dragonfly just because it was very pretty and it was feminine, or is there a reason towards the symbolism?
Well, no, I picked it for a reason, because the dragonfly symbolizes change. You know,
didn't know that.
Yes, change and strength and self-realization, and, you know, a different perspective in your life, both mentally and emotionally. And it's a rebirth. It symbolizes also strength. So the symbolization for that is to let women know that, you know, divorce doesn't have to mean a failure. How can we grow from that? How can we find strength in it? How can we really rebirth ourselves so that we are coming out of this viable, strong, and independent woman, and happy? You know, a lot of us feel that we have, because of the divorce, women end up with low self-esteem. You know, as a part of the group, we help boost each other's self-esteem, you know, so we can move forward. And that's, to me, is really important, and the symbol of the dragonfly.
Now, when you sign up for the Divorce Divas, it happens every Tuesday,
yes,
from 5:30 to 7:30, and it's at the Sobeys. Which Sobeys?
At the Sobeys on Manning Road.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our home now. It's a community room, and it's free, and, you know, we can meet there. It's private, because sometimes if you need to share, you want to make sure that we're sharing and it's private. And there's a understanding from all the women attending that whatever is said in that room is confidential, and it's to remain in the room, and no one shares it outside of that room.
And so how does someone go about joining the Divorce Divas?
Well, we are in the process. We have just started this group. So right now we are in the forming of the group process. And we do have a website. Not that's launched yet, but a website pending. And if you want to email the group, you can email info@divorcedivas@gmail.com.
Oh, that's very easy.
Yes. So you can get information, you can email, or you can, you know, contact this phone number, which is 1-855-600-2267, and call for information.
And then, you know, when we put that up on YouTube, we'll put the number up as well.
Okay, great, great. 1-855-600-2267, and it's toll free. Yeah. 600-2267.
Now, are there any credentials to join Divorce Divas? If anybody can anybody join, or?
Well, the credential for joining is you have to be separated, divorced, And you could also be a divorcee, which means you're separated, divorced, or remarried. Because we do have a mentorship program in Divorce Divas. That's the one basic thing that we do. And so if you're divorced and you've been through the divorce process and now you find true love and happiness again, we want women to be able to see that this could happen and you're not going to walk through life alone. So these women who are remarried helps the women who are going through the process to say, yeah, I have been there. And a lot of the women who are already remarried or are dating and are happy says, where was this group when I needed it?
Or just being on your own, being empowered, maybe starting up a new career,
exactly,
a new hobby, a new job. Maybe it's a fitness routine, someone to go out running with.
Exactly.
It's a great way to develop friendships.
Exactly. And two, when you have women who have kids of the same age, I mean, on Tuesday nights we go to a movie, you know.
They can help look after each other.
Right,
it's a great networking.
Exactly. And they can go together. For Christmas, one of the things we do is if you are alone at Christmas, because some women do end up alone, and because we have so many immigrants in our community, you find that when the kids are with a dad, then the women are alone at Christmas. So they're invited to one of the group's homes, and they can, you know, not spend Christmas alone. I spoke to one woman who said, you know, when my kids go to the dad's, I just lie in bed and cry because it's so hurtful to her. And I said, no, you're not going to do that anymore. You're going to come out to the group and find something to do. And I mean, she was like, wow, I had no idea about this group. I'm very happy to just know that there are other women who are going through the same thing that I'm going through. And I think that is the key message for the group.
And we all have something to offer. So as women, we can offer, maybe whether it's someone who doesn't know how to cook dishes, you can even do potluck stuff.
Yes,
right?
yes. I mean, different cultural food is always a blessing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And so now has the group already started? Is it already starting on Tuesdays?
Yes, it has actually on April 15th, I think it's Tuesday at Sobeys. It's our next meeting. And this would be our 6th meeting.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, you know, we are just trying to get the message out and working on all the logistics. We are in the process of trying to get the group a charitable organization so we could accept donations. And we also have Friends of Divorce Divas. So if males want to donate money, they can. We are... Well, actually, we will probably find some guy who will have divorce divos, which is great. You know, it's not that
everybody needs a little bit of help.
Everyone
right?
needs help, and even in coaching, I mean, the premise of my coaching as a divorce coach was to coach only women, but I've had a few calls for men, and you know what? When men are in crisis and they go through a divorce and they are the ones who do not want the divorce, they hurt just as much as women, you know. So on that premise, I have taken on a few men and have helped them, because men are business people and they want to get through it quickly. But it's not something that I wouldn't say that not something that I enjoy. I try to refer them to men who are also divorce coaches.
Because really what they're looking for is to be informed,
right,
and information.
Right. And I mean, to understand them emotionally. And I feel that I can do a better job with women.
But you know what? Some men actually feel more comfortable opening up with women because it's almost like bringing a negative and a negative together.
Right.
It doesn't make two positives, but they're more apt to open up and show their vulnerability as opposed to being with a man and not really saying probably what they want to say.
Right. And you know, from my perspective is to show that men are also vulnerable, you know, and men do hurt. So it gives you the perspective that, you know what? Keep the divorce divas positive, because not all men are terrible people, you know. You know, some of them hurt because they want to see their kids, they want to be good dads, and let's support the ones who want to do those things, because you know what, if more men went out and support their wives, even though they're getting divorced, and support their kids, then we would be in a much better place.
Absolutely. So is there a fee to join the group at all?
Yes. The fee is $100 a year, so which you can pay at $10 a meeting.
It's very minimal.
Very, very minimal. We wanted to start it off minimally, but I felt that it was important to have a fee, because if you have a fee of $100, then you are a member and you're vested in that membership, and only the women who are members will get the benefits of the group, because part of the benefits are supporting women if they are in financial crisis. We want to have scholarship funds to go to university. We also wanted to support the women who are in the cracks of not having enough money to take a night course or to go to university, so that they can better themselves. You know, so that's important. If you are in the group, then you're entitled to have those supports.
Absolutely. So if you want to go to the next meeting, it's April 15th.
Yes.
And that's going to be at the Sobeys on
Manning Road.
From 5:30 to 7:30. When you walk into Sobeys,
Right.
a lot of times people are a little intimidated. They don't want to ask anybody. So
Yes.
what do you do when you get into the grocery store? What do you say? Or where do you go?
Once you walk into Sobeys, you can go to the community service desk and just tell them you're here for a meeting. You can give my name, Kay Curtis, and they will direct you to where the meeting is if you've never been to the community room.
Okay, and what about if, before that happens, if the Divorce Divas, if they want to get in touch with you for mediation, for divorce coaching?
Oh, okay. If you want to get in touch with me for mediation or divorce coaching, you can go to www.positivebalancecoaching.com, or you can also call the same number that I gave earlier, which is 1-855-600-2267. Both numbers will come to me.
Okay. And Kay, you also have some exciting news, because there is going to be a competition with young writers, and
Yes.
we're going to showcase them. So Kay's going to tell us a little bit about that before we have to go.
Well, I also have a nonprofit called Pediatric Read, and it's been in operation since 2002. And we've had authors conferences, and we've had young people write stories. So the winner of the grade 9 to 12 wins an iPad, and the winner of grade 3 to 8 wins an iPod Touch. And before, it was a way for students to write about their feelings, about if they were being bullied, you know, and to be positive and relate things that may happen in their lives or friends. And you know, some of them are refugees, and we've gotten some wonderful, very creative stories. So right now we're in the process of judging that, and the kids who win will go on a bus trip and a picnic to the Buxton Museum on June 7th. And it's a fun-filled day, and all the children are allowed to bring a parent. And we've gotten a lot of different, so many essays, and it's a lot of fun reading it.
And how encouraging for the children. It's wonderful. And so thank you so much, Kay.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to have you back.
Thank
I wanted
you.
to see how the Divorce Divas is going to be coming along. Pardon me? Yes, and also don't forget to attend the Run for Rocky. That's going to be this Sunday, April the 13th, commencing 1 o'clock for runners, or sorry, for walkers, 1:15 for runners. It's 5 kilometers starting at Dieppe Gardens. You can register at St. Clair Center for the Arts, and that is going to support the support for basically the LGHB community. Thank you so much for joining Betty on the Go with Kate Curtis.
Thank you for
Have a great
having me.
week.
This was a
Happy
lot
Easter.
of fun. Thank you.
And we'll see you at the Run for Rocky.
Thank you.
Betty's on the go.